Good morning. I'm Cat Dillard. I'm the volunteer coordinator here at the North Carolina Arboretum. Thanks for joining us today for Fall Friday. So it is the first Friday in October, and so we are here to talk about some fun fall trees and the colors that you might see while visiting the Arboretum. And right now we are on Wesley Branch Trail, and I'm standing by one of the biggest trees on the Arboretum property. This particular tree is a white oak. It's got a beautiful bark. As you look up to the top, you'll see it's kind of got a flaky little bark as it gets to the top. And this tree is probably left over from an old homestead. There used to be quite a few homes here in the Bent Creek area before it became part of the forest. But today we're just going to take a little walk down Wesley Branch and talk about some of the fall foliage. So just to stop for a moment and talk about the kind of forest ecology. This time of year, you'll find lots of mushrooms growing. And as you see on this log here, there's lots of different types of mushrooms. We've got this little shove, looks like a turkey tail here, and a little brown mushroom here. A lot of mushrooms are not edible. They're actually poisonous to us, but other animals use them as a food source. Also, as limbs like this fall on the forest floor, the mushrooms actually help the process of this tree decaying and turning back into soil, which is really important for the trees as they grow big and tall towards the sunlight. So Wesley Branch is one of my favorite trails because it does have a little bit of a kind of hill, and it's pretty gradual, but you can get your heart rate up if you're walking quickly. And it follows along Wesley Branch here. And it's got all these beautiful mosses and ferns. It starts out as a hardwood forest, and then we're going to go through a little rhododendron tunnel, and then we're going to come out at Bent Creek, which is nice and flat if that's more your pace. So if you wanted to get your heart rate up, you could do something like Wesley Branch, or if you wanted to do a nice little chill pace, you could start out at Bent Creek by parking at the gatehouse parking. This particular tree that I'm standing next to right now is a sourwood. And sourwoods are actually phototrophic, which just means photo, light, and trophic meaning that love. And so this particular tree loves light. And it is one of the kind of it can get pretty tall, but it's an understory tree, so it's going to have to compete with the really tall maples and oaks and poplars. And so you'll see that it's going to always grow towards the light. So it has this really knobby bark, and it's always kind of twisty, growing towards the light to get the most amount of sunshine. This particular tree is going to, in just a few weeks, turn a brilliant yellow. It is a beautiful, a beautiful red, sorry. Some people ask about why trees actually change colors. So when trees are making food, it's actually called photosynthesis. And so they take the light, the sunshine, and make chlorophyll. And so that's the green that you see in the leaves. As the days grow shorter and a little bit chillier, there's less sunshine. And so that green actually kind of recedes in the plant. And then you actually see the colors that the tree would normally be without that chlorophyll. So the xanthophylls are actually the yellows, and the carotenoids will turn orange, and the cyaphylls will actually turn red. So they have a lot of tannin in them, so that you get those brilliant reds. This particular tree, it's got a lot of the cyanids in it, so it's going to turn a brilliant red in just a few weeks. And we'll see some of that color as we continue on. This is one of my favorite parts of the trail. As you see, we kind of go through this rhododendron tunnel. Rhododendron are very prevalent in this area, growing usually on slopes near water. And so, like I said, we're down near Wesley Branch. These particular plants are evergreen. You'll probably see some of the leaves are starting to turn yellow, so they will shed some of their leaves. But for the most part, this tree is going to stay green all through the winter. And so it doesn't kind of do the same thing that our hardwoods and our deciduous trees will do. Sure if you can hear that babbling brook right now, but it actually sounds lovely. You do have quite a few benches along the trails where you can sit a spell and contemplate the meaning of life on these beautiful fall mornings like today. It is nice as you walk along this trail to kind of get the zen feeling of the water. So we've just exited Wesley Branch and now we're on Bent Creek. And so this is the trail that I was saying was a little bit more flat if that's your pace. It's really easy access to the gate from here. But along this kind of roadway or corridor, there are some great trees that are starting to turn some colors that we can talk about today. And maybe a few wildflowers along the way as well. As you can see, if you come out early in the morning, there's not a lot of people on the trail. So it's a great way to get out and have a moment of silence with yourself, connect with nature. If you come in a busy afternoon, got a nice 6-foot wide space for you to social distance, if that's what you're interested in. I'm not sure if you can see some of the color on this particular tree. This is a maple, and it'll turn a bright red. Some people joke that the red maple always has something red on it. So in the spring it has these beautiful red blooms, and then the stems for the leaves actually turn red, and then in the fall the leaves will turn red. So you can see it just at the tip top there and near the sun. It's starting to get a little bit of that fall color. Beautiful plant that grows here along the Arboretum trails. This is an interesting tree as well. This is a sassafras tree. The cool thing about sassafras is it has actually 3 different types of leaves, or 3 different shapes of leaves. So if you want to zoom in, you'll see here that it has one leaf that has 3 lobes. So 1, 2, 3. Then it has a single lobe, so 1, and then it should have another that has 2. Looks more like a mitten. Let's see if I can find one here. Here's one. And then that's the 3rd leaf, if you can see that there. Looks kind of like a little mitten. This is a great tree. As you can see, this one's starting to turn a little bit of its fall color as well. So it turns a bright yellow. It's been a tree that's important to the western North Carolina mountains. It was used to flavor things like root beer, something very similar to that. So it is an understory tree, so it's more like a woody shrub. It's not going to get really tall, but it does have that beautiful fall color, and you'll be able to see that this fall just in the next couple of weeks. Oh, here's an interesting plant. This one here, if you can zoom up this way, this is actually called hearts of Burstin, or bursting as some people might say, but it is a little wildflower that kind of has these bright pink star-shaped flowers here, and when it bursts open, once it's pollinated and it bursts open, you can see the bright orange seeds, and those will drop in the fall to kind of reseed the area. Some people call that the strawberry plant. I've always heard it called hearts of Burstin. Lots of great fall wildflowers here along Bent Creek. Here's another great flower, the purple Aster. As you can see, it makes these beautiful purple petals with the yellow. The petals actually are not the flower, they're composite flowers. So the little yellow parts are actually individual little tiny flowers, and that's where the bees will get in there and pollinate. And so another great tree that we're coming up on, this is a black walnut tree, and it will start to turn some colors. Some of the trees around here, you can see it's got some yellow, and then the red that's up in there is actually Virginia creeper. I was a little confused because I was like, this tree turns yellow, but the red that you see there is Virginia creeper. That is a native vine that grows around here. A lot of people confuse it with poison ivy. It is not. It does not affect people the same way. It has 5 leaves instead of the 3, but you will often see it growing up a tree. And this particular tree it's growing on is the black walnut. Black walnuts are awesome trees and have been important to this area because they have a lovely nut. And so, not sure if you can see some of the nuts up there, but they come in this really hard hole like this, and so you can actually collect the nuts, and a lot of people, to get rid of the hole, will actually pour them out on their driveway and then run over them with a truck. Oh, here we go. And so to get that nut that's actually on the inside. So like walnuts, it has a really hard shell. It's not this outer hole that you'll actually crack open. But once you get that, I'm just going to use my foot to kind of release the nut here. And lots of people will actually drive over it with their vehicle. If you do decide to collect some black walnuts, it's great in cakes and pies and things like that, everything that you might use walnuts in. But you would want to use gloves because, as you can see here, it does it will dye your hands this black kind of yellowish brown black color. And so if you're doing it in your driveway, it might mark up your driveway as well. But inside there is a nut just like a walnut, what you might purchase at the grocery store. Bent Creek Trail is an awesome trail as well because you have another creek here. It's always nice to connect with nature. Water seems to wash our worries away. Some other trees that you'll start seeing that will change colors are the poplar trees. So poplars are going to turn a bright yellow very soon. Our dogwood trees are also going to turn a beautiful color, and they're getting their berries right now. But as you can see, we've just done a small little portion of the Arboretum trails, and we'd love for you to come out and visit us on any day, not just Fall Friday, but we appreciate you joining us today, and we hope you have a happy Friday, or Friday as I like to say. Thanks for joining us.